Fox 5 and Hot 97 present Street Soldiers with Lisa Evers.
I'm so glad you're joining us for this special episode of Street Soldiers. I'm your host, Lisa Evers. In this special edition, we're taking a close look at two competing public safety realities. On the one hand, the NYPD has driven down gun violence and murders to record low levels. But on the other, the mayor and the NYPD are facing lawsuits and tough questions. We begin with my one-on-one sit-down interview at Gracie Mansion with New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Mayor Adams, great to see you again.
Yes, it's always good to see you.
Thank you.
You do great work in this city.
Thank you so much, and so do you when you look at the crime stats.
Yes. You know, when you promise made, promise kept. Every year since being in office, we saw a decrease in crime, and I think we're seeing it right now, the crescendo, lowest number of shootings and homicides in the recorded history of the city. That matches with taking 22,000 illegal guns off our streets, and then some of the programs we're doing for at-risk youth, like our CRED program, teaching them real job skills and how they could move forward.
Now, the strategies that the NYPD used and that under your direction since you became mayor have been innovative because they've been targeted, focused, and specific to the people that were causing the most crime and causing the most shootings without violating the rights of the others. Right. How were you able to do that?
Well, it's a combination. One of the secret weapons we have are the use of drones. It's the use of drones. We traditionally police the city on the ground level. I cannot tell you how much a game change it is to be able to police from the sky. And we have been able to coordinate with our gun unit. Remember, I stated when I was running for office, I was going to put in a special gun unit. I got a lot of pushback. People said, no. But I ignored the noise and we did it, and we're seeing the results of that. I was with the unions today when they were talking about in the 90s, we were having over 2,000 homicides a year. Now we're like 100 and something a year. Now every 100 and something hurts, but you know, we're saving lives. And then it's targeting policing. Let's go where the crimes are taking place. And that's what we're doing.
Now, some people would say, how can you continue to be focused on fighting crime with these other distractions like this rash of lawsuits, including the new one from former commissioner for less than a month, Thomas Donlan?
Right. It's a combination of disgruntled employees in the NYPD. We've always had changes when a new commissioner comes in. That always happens. Then you have the political season. I mean, this is the political season. Everyone is trying to be one up on the candidates. You cannot tell me the timing of this
is coincidental.
Right. And so I just encourage people to read that 200 and something page, and you would walk away with saying all of these inflammatory terminologies he's using, all of these accusations, it sums up to just normal office interaction, and it's just a real disgruntled, and it's unfortunate, but you got to keep moving. And
then do you categorically deny any of these allegations? It seems he was there such a short time to be making a lot of statements like that.
Totally baseless. And the statements that he's making, it's just totally baseless. I just think that these are ways that people want to aggravate the game and then feed into the narrative that, hey, the mayor's corrupt, the mayor's corrupt, the mayor's corrupt. There are no gold bars in my home. You can follow every dollar I make, exactly where it goes. I'm a working class mayor, and I believe in working class people, and that's what I've always done.
Now, a lot of people in the community and the community leaders, you know, I'm out there on the streets too. Mm-hmm. People are saying, okay, we like him. We know he's done great with crime, but how do we know he's on top of things and making sure that there isn't corruption in the city government or with the NYPD?
No, so true, and they should be. I have to prove to New Yorkers. New Yorkers don't have to prove to me. And I told New Yorkers when I come into office, I was going to bring down crime in the city. And I'm going to make sure that my internal investigatory bodies like IAB and others, they do their job. I don't get in the way of what they're doing. I don't in any way attempt to interfere. I let them do their job. And my job is to make sure that no one is in their way, and I'm able to move the city forward.
And then what about the youth? Because you haven't instituted some of these programs like the job training program, the basketball programs, those kinds of things. What about focusing on these youth? Because the crime that does exist, the shootings that do exist, these shooters are getting younger and younger.
Oh, without a doubt. Big mistake in Albany. And I keep talking about how I'm fixing Andrew's mess, what he created, bail reform, the cannabis law, what 15,000 nursing home deaths, raise the age.
Raise the age.
All of these programs that we saw come out of Albany are impacting us on the ground. The shooters are getting younger, and the victims are getting younger. That's a real problem. We're seeing it over and over again. So what we must do is give them pathways to really be able to develop what I like to say their full personhood. We have a Summer Rising program. 110,000 youth are engaged all year round, a safe place for them. We're doing the universal after school for free, so young people can have a place they can go to after school when much of this violence takes place in those after school hours. We're finding ways to get our youth in real safe haven and safe places.
And one of the other things, your career as a police officer, you became a police officer at a time when it was very difficult for African American applicants. There were obvious attempts, to subvert your rise within the police department, all of these kinds of things. There was never, of everything that was thrown at you, any hint of corruption or anything like that.
Right, and you know what, and I like that because that's the proper analysis. I've always followed the rules. I'm a big believer in the rules, and I always knew I was going to be under scrutiny. And people think about my role as a captain, my role as the state senator, the first person of color to be borough president, and the mayor. That's my glory. That's not my story. My story is a clear one. Growing up dyslexic, undiagnosed, believing that I couldn't learn, dealing with police misconduct and abuse, having my car shot out as a police officer. There's a long journey of climbing up the mountain one hand at a time. Under my nails is the dirt and grind to get here. I didn't wake up and became the mayor of the city of New York. I worked hard in the city that I love.
Coming up, we'll get some expert perspective on the politics and the policing strategies behind all of this. Welcome back to this special episode of Street Soldiers. I'm the mayor in the NYPD. We thank Mayor Adams for making time to talk with us. We're joined right now by Ralph Cilento. He's a police science professor at John Jay College and former NYPD lieutenant. Also joining us is Rider University political science professor Micah Rasmussen. Ralph, I want to start with you on this. You're the former police experience on the panel here. What do you attribute the number one factor of the drop in crime that we've been seeing? Because there's no question, even the people that do not like Mayor Adams and support his opponents are saying the shootings are down, the murders are down, they're at record lows. What's going on? So what do you see is going on from your background?
Well, really, it could be attributed to two things. The rank and file, who are still under, so to speak, Police Plaza, and they're still out there doing the job. It appears that crime is down across the city, but crime is up, apparently, in One Police Plaza itself. And so this is a testament to everyone that's out there doing the job, all the men and women that are still working really hard, and this model of precision policing, where we're not randomly throwing darts, it's using data, it's using AI and other precision tools to really identify predicate perpetrators, predicate criminals, and then addressing those criminals. And we see it with massive gun seizures.
Professor Rasmussen, Mayor Adams campaigned the first time around. He's an ex-police officer himself. He was a captain in the NYPD. He was one of his main slogan, and the reason people were really, I think a lot of people voted for him that first time around was coming out of COVID. There was a lot of crime. We're seeing kids getting caught in the crossfire of these gang gun battles, and it was safety and justice. Do you think he's getting enough credit for that?
Well, there are two things that I think working against him. One is that while the serious crimes are down, and Ralph is absolutely correct that the tactics are working, and the ones that are really the offenses that are really the focus of the police are way down, overall crime is still up, right? And that includes misdemeanors, it includes things like graffiti, it includes overall offenses. 580,000 at the end of 2024 versus 454,000 total offenses at the end of 2021. So what people feel and what people experience may not be directly related to numbers, and people don't necessarily feel that they're safer because maybe they see those misdemeanors going on in their neighborhoods. The other problem Ralph also talked about is that I think the biggest law and order issue for Mayor Adams is his own problems, his own legal problems. And I think that's a serious problem in that this is a very high profile corruption problem that he had. It only was cleared up because the charges were dropped, the Trump administration insisted that they be dropped. And I don't think New Yorkers really feel a lot of resolution or exoneration for the mayor there. And so I think that's really a problem that will haunt him to the end.
Yeah.
Ralph, 3 different police commissioners in about like 3 years. What does that do to the department internally? Does it actually affect what's happening on the streets, or is that the effect of a police commissioner? There's like a time lag before we see what his or her legacy is.
Well, you're right on both counts, right? There is a time lag between when a new commissioner comes in and what policies they're going to roll out. And I can only emphasize again that there are many managerial ranks in the police department. So the men and women that are out there doing the job, they still have their sergeants, lieutenants, captains, and people that are not embroiled in this sort of chaos at One Police Plaza. 3 police commissioners in 3 years is a problem. There's no question about it. And what it does more than anything, it affects morale, because lower ranking officers feel that the department is rudderless and that no one's really in charge. So they have their immediate managers, sergeants, lieutenants, captains, inspectors that they answer to. They're still out there doing the job, but absolutely a bad look for the NYPD, which, I mean, Micah was right that it goes right back to the mayor's office.
And then, Micah, when you look at the level of the alleged corruption and the alleged misconduct, whatever it is, there was this whole barrage of FBI raids and announcing investigations, and apparently this was almost many departments in the city, even from the Department of Education, one of the most esteemed educators in the country, David Banks. There were other departments, top people, his right hand, Mayor Adams' right hand person, the deputy mayor for public safety, who was the former high-ranking NYPD officer. Have you ever seen that level of that level of targeted individuals in an administration?
It really does suggest a widespread problem, Lisa. It says there's a blind spot. It says there's a tolerance that shouldn't be there, right? That the administration at the highest ranks is tolerating something that they shouldn't be. And if they're tolerating it where they shouldn't be, when it comes to these high-profile cases, it doesn't take 10,000 cases for people or statistics for people to say, I don't feel like they've got control of this. They are tolerating something they shouldn't be. They're putting up with something. They have a blind eye. Whatever it is, there's a problem here that they don't have control of.
Stay with us. We have more for you right after this.
You need to have integrity from the top. You lead from the top down.
Welcome back to this special episode of Street Soldiers on the mayor and the NYPD. Let's hear more from our guests. Michael, when people are saying to me, Lisa, how could the mayor not have known? This is too many departments and too many high-level people, too many people that he'd been working with for many years in other capacities. How could he have not known? Have we ever seen anything like this?
No, I think that's a very fair question that people are asking. I think you're right. When someone knows and understands the organization, they can't claim ignorance. They can't just say, well, I don't know anything about that, right? Because that's what they're steeped in. That's what they know. And, look, I think New Yorkers understand that policing is a very complex task in any major city. But what they want to see is that the leaders and the organization are on the same page. And they haven't been on the same page. You asked me to talk about the Donlin lawsuit, right? I mean, this is an example where there's character assassination going on, right? The mayor is saying, he's going through some cognitive issues. He's rapidly deteriorating mentally. And Donlin says, no, wait a minute. I'm suing here. You are assassinating my character. They obviously cannot be on the same page if that's the kind of stuff that's going on. And what New Yorkers see and they get from all that is that you're not working together.
Ralph, the federal civil lawsuit alleging that the NYPD was actually a criminal enterprise, like a civil RICO case, and that the mayor knew about it, that many high-level officials knew about it, and the mayor, when I spoke with him, he was talking about, he was talking about, well, this individual was a police commissioner for less than a month. It's a 251-page federal civil lawsuit. When you heard that, what did you think?
Well, I read the Donlin lawsuit in its entirety, and yeah, he does assassinate his character, but Donlin does take exception with that. But he also makes some very specific allegations about the way people are being promoted and things like that. Now, in order to go forward, we have to go backward a little bit, right? The spoil system has been around since the 1800s, right?
What do you mean by spoil system?
Well, the way I'm going to explain it is that the spoil system is when political appointees get in and they appoint their friends, whether or not they're qualified, their family, right? So some nepotism involved, and this has been going on forever, right? And this is why the civil service system was created by the Pendleton Act. In any organization, there's going to be some degree of taking care of friends and acquaintances. There's always going to be that, but in not having a better system, we have to go with the one that we have. And civil service, the point of it was to do exam-based, merit-based entry into jobs. So any rank that's civil service, they have to appoint you the rank or they have to show cause. So cops want to be sergeant, lieutenant, captain. These are all competitive promotional exams. And they're very, very difficult. I mean, these exams are designed to fail. So obviously, cops that want to move up the ranks, they prepare for over a year. Here's the problem I'm getting at. From captain and above, everything is discretionary. Everything is appointed. The police commissioner and the mayor appoints everything. And anything that relies upon discretion can be corrupted. What we see here is this is an allegation to the 10th degree, where they're selling promotions. And I mean,
$15,000 for a promotion.
I've never heard of anything like this. It's abhorrent if it's true, and people should go to jail. I mean, there's always been a degree of who you know, and people are always going to argue that this person got promoted, they weren't really qualified. Which, by the way, just to go backwards for a minute, these are specific allegations in Donlin's lawsuit that I think are going to be tough to prove. Because if he says that person wasn't qualified and Mayor Adams says he was qualified, it's kind of hard to disprove that.
We're back with you right after this. Ralph, in terms of the current Commissioner Tisch, Jessica Tisch, she got rid of corruption, what she thought was corruption, some high people who were very well regarded in the department. What do you think of the job that she's been doing?
I think sometimes heroes don't wear capes. And I know she took a lot of flack after she came in, that she was never a cop. But Jessica Tisch and the Tisch family have long been students of politics in New York City. And this woman came in, and I got to hand it to her. I'm delighted with the job that she's doing. I'm watching everything, the way she's breaking down the good old boys club, getting rid of people who she perceives to be corrupt or not functioning properly. I think it's fantastic.
And Ralph, when you see the moves that she's made, I mean, even with Chief of Department, former Chief of Department Jeffrey Madry, scandal with overtime for sex. One of the people that he supervised, she was making over $400,000 a year because of overtime, and then she alleged, sexual harassment and that type of thing. What do you think about some of the issues that she's focused on in terms of righting what she says are the wrongs of the NYPD structure?
Right. Clearly, Commissioner Tisch is not sweeping anything under the rug. She's pouring salt on everything, which is the way it should be done. If you want to have a department, you need to have integrity from the top. You lead from the top down. There's no exception to this. That Madry scandal was an abomination. The overtime, the sex, all of it, an abomination.
Professor Micah Rasmussen, can the dropping crime in New York City, can that help Mayor Adams put to rest, or just maybe what would you say, put all these investigations and things on the back burner, or do you think it's too early to tell?
Well, I think a lot depends on the next election, right? I mean, I think a lot, since the election is so close, Adams is not really going to get out from under this unless he wins re-election, and that's looking like a pretty tall order at this point. So I think that the election will dominate the rest of the year, and then whoever the next mayor is going to have to take the best stab that they can on, Ralph says, best people, put the best people in place, the best goals in place, the best direction from the top. And that's what you have to hope for. But whether or not that's Adams and he gets the chance to do that, that's a political question that, again, handicappers say that's a pretty tall order for him to win re-election at this point.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Street Soldiers on the Mayor and the NYPD. You can watch it again and share it on our Fox 5 NY YouTube page and the Watch section on our Fox Local app. Remember, use your mind, it's your best weapon. I'm Lisa Evers. Let's push for peace, love, and justice for all.